coming on the matter of our players playing too much. So between the seasons of 1975 and 76 and 1984 and 85, that's a period of 10 seasons, a player by the name of Phil Neal, who played for Liverpool, played about 610 or 611 games in 10 seasons. The least amount of games he played in that time was one season where he played 54 games. And other than that, he was playing anywhere between 59, 60 and 62 games. The most capped player for Arsenal is David O'Leary, who retired, I think, early 90s. And second to him is Tony Adams. The most capped player of Manchester United is Ryan Giggs, who broke the record that was set by Bobby Charlton, right? So the history of football has involved guys playing a lot of games, and these are players who did not have at their beck and call sports science in the way that it is known now. Nutrition was not what it is now. Tony Adams speaks about the fact that when Wenger arrived at Arsenal, they had to be told by Wenger that they should stop smoking and drinking and adopt a nutritionally dense diet, and this prolonged their careers, right? So guys were playing 60 games a season, Chuck, prior in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s, 2000s. Why is it all of a sudden that it's too many games? Is it the pace of the game has changed? I don't know if that's true.
Think so, yeah.
I'd like to see the stats behind that. Perhaps that is the case, but I don't know, man. Particularly when you consider that these guys are paid astronomical figures right now. Play.
You think it's that simple that the others are playing these number of games, you can do the same, plus you're getting paid like a million times more than they were getting?
That's the thing for me. So the chat is players are playing so many more games. The idea that is I don't want to say being fed, but the idea that is prevalent is that there's so much more football and they just keep adding more games. Whereas no one this season has played 60 games, other than those Liverpool players, you know. And because it was the uniqueness of there is the AFCON. But even with that, Chuck, the reason that Lionel Messi has the world record number of goals in a calendar year is because he played 73 games that season. That doesn't happen without him playing the games. Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi, for me, the thing that we don't speak about that is remarkable, their goal tallies are only enabled by the fact that they've been playing so many games. And I don't know if you want to say they've been lucky, that they've not been injured, but Ronaldo has played over 1,000 games and he's still going at 37, going on 38. Lionel Messi as well. They're not as they used to be, but that's because Father Time is undefeated, and that's just the effect of time on their prime. It's not the fact that they have played too many games, too much mileage on their legs. So I don't actually really know where this comes from. I feel like it's just a popular thing and we just keep regurgitating it. There's so much football. They're playing much more football. But when you actually look at it, they're not playing more games than they did in a bygone era. So if we are talking about they're getting up to like NBA schedule where they're paying like 80, 82 games, then yeah, that's being ridiculous. But when guys have played 50 plus games in the past, I don't see what the issue is.
I think the guys in the past were playing with a lot of ignorance, as you were saying. They were drinking, they were smoking, and letting their bodies go through hell, playing with...
Still able to play.
No, able to play is very different from being healthy to play, because those guys would fracture their legs and continue playing because of hearts and glory. Marum Tokwan is fighting relegation, because back in the day, that was what was tough. I think modern medicine tells us how to act better, and I think one of the factors, I think football has become quicker since back in the days. I think the movement of the ball, the ideas on how to actually play the actual game require you to be a quick player, requires you to be somewhat more athletic than those guys who were there back in the day. I mean, if you look at Dennis Irwin, sorry, not Charlton, Dennis Irwin. He's not the picture of athleticism, but had a very decent career. But I don't think Dennis Irwin has the very same career if you plug him into the modern version of the Premier League. His quality will stand out, but Maguire's getting skinned every other day. At pace. He doesn't have much to fall back on. There are a few players like Thiago Silva who are very elite, who can do without the speed because their positioning and the reading of the game is elite. But the nobodies and the everybody's need to be at least fast enough to catch the Salahs and the Manes, because everyone's no longer Smaka the target man number 9. These guys there's a front three now. They are wing backs. Basically, everyone is quick, and I have to be able to catch them. Their counters, the game is being played for me at a different pace. So I think looking at that exertion of the game, I think they do have a say, man. Because if you're gonna watch Abantu Bakhatel, I mean, look, case in point, and I don't know if this is particularly true, but in the Nations League, England lost, France lost, Croatia lost, if I'm not mistaken, another giant lost as well. And people are saying that those players, particularly in the English media,
playing in
they
those
look tired.
useless games.
Yeah, but they look tired. So what I'm saying is that I think they do have a case, because I mean, you can only do so much, Jay. And when do you say stop? Because we said on our own podcast that Klopp's boys, because he does not rotate as much as all the other managers, look tired. And obviously, when they got to the campaign that was hit most by COVID, he had injuries after injuries, and it was hard for them to actually mount a challenge for the league, and they finished, I think, in 4th position. So I think it gets to you at some point if you're playing over and over and over again. The guy, the Arsenal legends and stuff, how old did they play until? Did they go into age 35 and onwards? Okay, those are special cases, but I do think the game is very different.
I know Bobby Charlton has looked like an old man from when he was young, but he went to like a late age as well. So what you were saying, again, my challenge to that is, I know this is what has been said, and I've had a bit of a rethink about like that Klopp and Liverpool thing, because those boys at Liverpool, one Liverpool fan said to me that you cannot be weak and play for Liverpool. If you want to play for Liverpool, you must know that you're going to be running, and it is ferocious, right? And in my head as well, I look at that and I think that's not sustainable, and yet they sustained it to the tune of playing every game that's available to them. And in that season, last season, they fell off. And my thinking as well is part of that is because of their style and because Klopp has barely rotated. But then they come back this season. We'll see next season. Is there a drop off, and are they going to pay for what happened this season? Then maybe I might come back and say something different. But you look at Mo Salah, for example. I was looking at Mo Salah's stats in the 4 seasons he's been at Liverpool. Only one of these seasons has he not played 50 plus games. And I'm not only referring to guys who played a long time ago, even in this day and age. That's why I brought up Ronaldo. That's why I brought up Messi. Sergio Ramos as well played a lot of games. Sergio Busquets has played a lot of games for Barcelona. Guys who've been chronically injured are guys who I believe their bodies just are brittle, regardless of what happens. When you think of Abu Dhabi at Arsenal, or modern example would be Dembele at Barcelona, that's just them. That is just them, and their bodies are just not fully built for that kind of physical exertion, regardless of how many games they were playing. In the majority, when I look around, I see guys are putting in season after season after season of a number of games, and their performances don't drop off.
But yeah, what do you make then of the stats where people are saying that 54% of the players who are affiliated to Fifth Pro say, we've had injuries related to overexertion? What do you make of that stat? Do you think that's all in their head?
So that's what I'm saying, that it's not conclusive on my end, because I'm not a doctor to these guys. I don't have access to their medical records. I have what they are saying and going on that, right? But I'm hearing what they're saying, and I'm comparing it to what I'm seeing, and it does not line up, Chuck.
There's no difference. They play the same.
It does not line up. They say that they've had these injuries, but like they have miraculously recovered from them in time to then go on another campaign of playing 50 games. And for me, again, you're being paid an exorbitant amount of money to do this. This is not being slave driven. This is not what this is. You know, you're playing a kid's game for a lot of money.